Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of K9 Legends and Trailblazers. We have a very special guest today. This is United States Marine Corps handler Albert Johnson. Hey Albert, how you doing, sir?
No, not too bad. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, of course. Long time. It's been a long time since I've seen you, probably almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Almost 20. So tell us a little bit about your where you started K9 at, Albert.
Yeah. So, again, I joined the Marine Corps in 2004, actually to be an MP, hoping that I would get into the dog program. I went ahead and uh, went out for the canine program. You know, you have to write an essay, you got to do an interview and all that stuff. And there was actually only 9 spots available at the time, and I was actually the 10th one chosen. They had an extra spot come open at the last minute, and I kind of snuck into it. And the rest of it's kind of history because that's all I did. You know, I got selected out of the pipeline
Yeah.
to do SSD school right after canine school. So,
So literally you went from military police school to Lackland, you went through block one, block two, and then
mhm.
from block two you went straight over to be an SSD student.
Right. Yep.
I got you, I got you. And how long were you an SSD?
My whole career, so from 2005 to 2009 when I got out,
Okay.
I was
And
doing
definitely
SSD work.
definitely a different time too when when you came in 2005, that's pretty much the height of both wars happening at
Yes.
one time. So did you have any deployments under your belt with your SSD?
Yeah, I actually had 3 of them. So when I came out of the SSD program at Lackland, of course, I took one of the 2 dogs that I trained there. His name was Rexy. Took him on my first deployment to Afghanistan with the Special Forces team.
Yeah.
And then my other 2 deployments I actually did with an Israeli SSD named
Okay.
Johnny.
Okay, so you were right in the middle of both of that. So do you remember
Hmm.
your instructors from SSD school, the first one?
Yep. Robert Norman was one of them, and Nick Fontaine was the other.
Yeah, nice, very nice, very well-known trainers throughout the community. And as you know, Robert ended up staying at Lackland, is now an instructor with Federal Service,
Oh,
and
nice.
Nick went on to a phenomenal career with the special operations community. And just recently, he retired not too long ago. I spoke with him recently, and he'll be a guest on my show coming soon. So I can't wait for
Oh,
that.
nice.
I'm sure you'll be excited to see that one. But
Oh, heck yeah.
what and then so you got deployments in, and then you said you came back and you got on a dog that was Israeli trained, right?
Yes. Yep.
So for those that don't know, there were kind of two programs going at the same time, right? You had a specialized search dog school at Lackland that was more from Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri program with Paul Bunker that shifted down to Lackland. At the same
Mhm.
time, you had a few hand-selected Marines that had gone over to Israel to basically do their style of SSD, which was a little different, right?
Right.
And what was happening is, as they were coming back with those dogs and rotating out of those dogs, they were taking young Marines and putting them on those dogs and then training them up themselves, correct?
Right. Yes.
Cool. So, yeah, great experience, right? The only thing you're missing is the IDD cap at the end where you would have had all three of them lined up because those three kind of, they kind of work in motion. But yeah,
Right.
very cool, man. And thank you for your service. Thank you for your
Thank you
deployments,
for
man.
yours.
We very much appreciate it. And that's kind of where I want to move to the next topic. You get out in 2009, and what are you doing between 2009 and 2020?
So 2009, I got out. I tried to go back to New Hampshire, where I'm from, and get a job. And of course, we're right in the middle of the recession, and
Yeah,
nobody's hiring.
right.
But I get a phone call back from one of our, well, actually, it was my kennel master at the time at Camp Pendleton.
Yeah.
And he told me, "Hey, you've got an interview here next week. You've got to get to California." I said, "I never even put my package in for this job." And he said, "No, I did it for you. I knew you needed something." So I got hired back on as a federal police officer on Camp Pendleton,
Okay.
working in the same office, working with the same dogs, just making three times the money.
Yeah, wonderful, man. So so did you do that all the way up until 2020?
I did that for 5 years.
Hmm.
I did it till the end of 2014. Then my wife, who was also a dog handler, she got out of the Marine Corps, and we decided to move to East Tennessee.
Okay. Well, that's
When we moved to East Tennessee, I was looking for a job in law enforcement. The pay here was terrible for law enforcement.
yeah,
I'm talking like 13, $14 an hour, and
yeah,
it wasn't going to work. So
right.
I ended up getting hired on at the post office,
Okay.
actually as the janitor at first, and then I worked my way up to city mail carrier. Did that for 5 years.
Nice.
Um, Kind of had a mental breakdown and went back to school.
Well,
Got my bachelor's degree in business.
okay. Well,
And
good,
then
man.
during that time is when I started the museum.
Well, that's perfect, and that's perfect segue. And I hope you use that GI Bill to pay for all that school.
Absolutely.
And then
Absolutely.
you know you got all that federal time with the post office too, right? So you got a lot
Hmm.
of federal time. So let's talk about the museum, right? It's called the
Okay.
Military Working Dog Heritage Museum. Kind of
Yeah.
give me your motivation for starting this up.
Yeah. So it's kind of a long story. I'll try to
All
modify
right.
it to fit in here, but
Good.
so I I adopted Johnny, my Israeli SSD working dog.
Yeah.
Had him for about 3 years before he passed away. He had a heart condition. Um, And during that time, I was on Facebook. Facebook was still pretty alive and well. And
Yeah.
I sent out a message saying, "Hey, we're going to do a ceremony at our local DAV chapter, the Disabled American Veterans,
Right.
for my service dog that passed away. If anybody's interested in coming, just show up at this address at this time." And at the end of the ceremony, we did the 21 gun salute. There was actually all three of Johnny's handlers were there. So we
Okay.
all kind of spoke about him and our experiences with him. And then this giant of a man showed up in bib overalls, big old white beard. His name was Perry Money, and he was a Vietnam dog handler.
All right.
I don't know if you ever got the chance to meet him, but he was an
Oh,
incredible man. He was a Marine mine and booby trap dog handler in Vietnam.
really?
And the success rate for those guys was pretty high, but the attrition rate was also very high because of the risky missions they were putting them on.
Right.
But I met him, and he came up and he shook my hand. He said, "On behalf of all Vietnam dog handlers, welcome home, and we're sorry for your loss."
That's
And
really cool.
that really opened up my eyes to, holy cow, there's other generations doing the same things that we were doing that
Right.
really wish us success.
Right.
Fast forward, Perry always had a reunion at his cabin every year for his Vietnam dog handler buddies.
Yeah.
So he invited me a couple of times, but unfortunately, I was working at the post office at the time, and I was working 6 days a week, and there was just no way I could get over there.
Right.
So fast forward another year, I get a phone call from Josie Money, Perry's wife. Perry had passed away.
Oh, man.
Perry passed away, and she said, "You're the only one of your generation that he has ever invited up to the cabin, and I really want you to come here and experience this. We're
Okay.
going to do one more to honor Perry. You need to come." So I took the time off from the post office. I went. The minute you drive onto the property, there's this bridge. It's Canine Bridge, and you drive under it. And I'm not kidding, Joe. The weight just lifted off my shoulders. Like there was
Okay.
not a care in the world. This place was just incredible.
Nice.
But I got to meet a bunch of Vietnam veterans. They were all trading stories. I ran into Dixie Gilmore Whitman, who used to run a nonprofit sending care packages overseas to us dog handlers. She was there because she was good friends with Perry, and her and I sat down and we were talking, and we're like, nobody is taking all of this information and compiling it. All these guys, they're dying off at such a fast rate. Nobody's recording them,
Right.
and nobody's taking their artifacts and things like that and putting them in one place. There's small pockets of our canine history all across the United States, but nobody's brought it all together.
Right.
So the idea kind of dropped there. And about 3 weeks later, I get a phone call from Dixie calling me, and she said, "Okay, when are we starting this thing?" And I said, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! This was never in the plans. I was never going to be the guy, but now I'm the guy."
You're the guy. Yeah.
Yep. So
So, so the Military Working Dog Heritage Museum, obviously, I mean, you're talking military working dog in general. I mean, we go way back, even past Vietnam, um,
right,
and all we have left prior to before Vietnam handlers are stories, right? We still have a
right.
few Vietnam handlers around. Um, I would have loved to have had a conversation with Perry. He sounds like
Oh
my
yeah.
kind of guy, overalls, long beard. Um, and so I can really appreciate what you're doing. Where are you guys at now as far as like what does the Military Working Dog Heritage Museum need to continue, right? Continue growing and to gain more traction.
Well, our next fundraising effort is actually to outfit a truck and trailer and outfit it with our artifacts and drive it across the country.
Okay,
So that's our next big push for fundraising,
okay.
because we think that we can take that and drive it around the nation and actually go to schools, to big events, military bases. If
Yeah.
corporations want to make a donation, we can come set up. We can you know,
So like a
uh,
mobile museum, right?
right,
Mobile
exactly.
museum,
And then, from there, once we get the mobile museum up and running, we're going to try to for a physical location.
a hard facility. Yeah, yeah, of
Yeah.
course. And that's amazing, man. I mean, that's a good way, that's a good place to start, right? I think I like the
Yeah.
mobile museum to start a lot
Mhm.
because it's getting attention wherever it goes, right? It's not
Absolutely.
just sitting in one place waiting for people to come. This is going out, kind of like the Vietnam Memorial Wall, the traveling wall.
Absolutely.
Kind of the same concept. That's really
Yeah.
cool. Are you doing this by yourself? Do you have other people involved in the museum?
So we actually have 11 board members,
Okay.
most of which are either Vietnam dog handlers or our generation. We've got a couple our generation on there, and then we've
Okay.
got a couple of supporters that are also there for us. So as far as volunteers go, there's probably about 35 volunteers off and on.
Okay.
There's about 12 that are super active that go to events with us. And that's what we're doing right now. So we're actually taking small pieces of our history, driving it around to locations that we've been invited to.
Uh-huh.
And then we just kind of show it off, tell them what's going on, and then pack up and move on to the next event.
If you wouldn't mind, when we get off here, would you be able to like take a couple photos of the artifacts you do have, and I'll share it in
Absolutely.
video. And
Absolutely.
and this is I want to try to help you out with this, of course. I don't. I started this channel to honor our K9 legends and trailblazers, right? We do a great job of honoring our dogs, man. We do, and we
Yeah.
should, right? And we love them
Right.
for it. But there's a lot of stuff that goes behind the scenes with a great dog came great training, great supervision, great handlers, all those kinds of things. So I want to make sure I highlight that too. But also, this is an opportunity for me to shine some light on the things that people are doing outside of the normal everyday canine realm, but also trying to still honor it, right? And I
Right.
appreciate what you're doing so much, man. I think it's great on you. I know when you have a nonprofit, it's not always glamorous, you're real small right now, but you could grow very, very large. And I think if you're like me, it doesn't matter how big it gets as long as you're able to tell somebody's story, right? Um,
Absolutely.
and that's what we want to do. And you're right, man. We got to catch up to these Vietnam dog handlers before that time is gone and we lose all those stories. So if you have any of them that are still out there that want an interview with me, I'll do it, man. I'll make
Okay.
sure it happens. I'll tell their story. I don't care if it's a 15-minute segment or a 3-hour segment, man. It's okay. We need to tell their story. Um,
Absolutely.
for those that would like to get more information about the Military Working Dog Heritage Museum, how would they get that information? I'm going to post everything on here as well,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
how would they help out?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing to do is like you should do with every nonprofit, and that is check us out and make sure that we're exactly what you want to support.
Yeah.
And I think that we're such a grassroots movement right now. And we've got the backing of dog handlers. So, going to the website would be the first step. Go to mwdhm.org. Check us out. I definitely, if you're into the history of the working dog program and seeing some of the interviews that we've done in written context, join our newsletter. We've started the newsletter in 2000. Every month we put one out, and it goes back to stories of Seaman, which is the first Lewis and Clark's working dog that they had, that
Right.
they actually bought as a working dog. So, the program really goes back that far.
Yeah, that's cool.
And we also do interviews to current day as well.
Yeah, good. And I think I found you guys on Facebook is where I found you.
Okay,
I subscribed not too long ago. Matter of fact, I think some of my videos post on there as well on that website or on that
nice.
Facebook site. But yeah, man, well, cool. I'm not going to take up much more of your time. I really just want to highlight the museum. If you please send me over some artifacts, some pictures, all those kind of
Absolutely.
things. It was so good seeing you again, man. It's been a long
You
time.
as well.
It's hard to believe it's been 20 years.
Yeah.
But I guess we're the old dogs on the porch now, huh?
That's exactly how I feel when we go out to these events, especially we went out to the Army MWD Symposium the last couple of years and seeing these young guys, and you're going, man, you don't look old enough to hold a leash.
Hey, that's how you look when you came through too, man. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I was on my way to being an old dog when you came through. But
yeah,
yeah, man, great to see you. Thank you so
yeah,
much for your service, your past and your present service. And I hope we can help you in any way. Okay, my brother?
yeah. All right. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
All right, man. Take care of yourself, Albert.
You too.
All right, later.